On behalf of MEOF and the gift committees, I'd like to welcome you and commend you on making the decision to come tonight. In the busyness of day-to-day living, we sometimes don't stop to consider what we are really doing with this one precious life. 2 years ago, Robin Bush and I had the privilege of hearing Katrena speak at a breast cancer function in Essendon. And for 1 hour, we were given the opportunity to do just this. We listened intently, we laughed, as we pondered our own philosophy of life. And from the look on the faces of the others present, they too were enjoying the speaker and the topic as much as we were. Driving home chatting about our morning, I remember saying to Robin, wouldn't it be wonderful to get Katrena to Kyabram? And this brings me to a very special thank you. Earlier this year, I submitted my request to MEOF in the hope that they could contribute something towards bringing Katrena to us. This amazing group of people contributed the entire cost. Thank you so much, MEOF. Your generosity towards this event and so many other events you've enabled us to hold is so gratefully received. I'd also like to say a special thank you to the gift members for promoting at the event and setting up tonight and for the provision of supper. Now, I take great pleasure in introducing Katrena Friel, our keynote speaker, who passionately invigorates and challenges one's belief and thinking. She has inspired and contributed in assisting thousands of people in their next level of development. Tonight, Katrena will help us explore our own personal philosophy of life. And it is so exciting to finally say, welcome to Kyabram, Katrena.
Oh my God, I never drive 200 k's to get anywhere. But I went to the fauna park and that was way worth it. I can go now and thanks for having me, it's been great. Now, you know how these things start? You know how you have to turn to the person next to you? So what I want you to do is turn to the person next to you and put your hands around their face like that. And I want you to look really deeply into their eyes. And I want you to say, gosh, isn't Katrena good looking? It's amazing, isn't it? How good looking I am? I know. And just while you're there, say, I love you. I love you. And God, you're good looking. And lie if you have to. Seriously, it's better if you lie. It's better if you lie. So what we're going to do tonight, thanks for coming, take a seat, don't worry about being late. It's not embarrassing at all. It's not embarrassing at all. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, first of all, my mum's story, because I think her philosophy on life inspired me. And then I thought, to give you some more inspiration, we can go into stuff that's about my philosophy on life. And by then, if you haven't decided what your bloody philosophy is, well then get stuffed, seriously. Come on, that's got to be enough. Got to be enough. All right, so let's start with my mum's story. About 20 years ago, my mum battled her own private battle with cancer. And my mum had 4 daughters, and I am, of course, the best-looking one out of all 4. I am number 2, which is the best one. Hands up, who's number 2? I know, we're awesome, aren't we? Amazing. And we were all born in January, and that's about the only claim to fame we actually have. So as you can tell, my mum was very, very organised and clearly determined. My dad reckons that he lost a stone every time she wanted to have a baby. I don't understand. Do you understand what they're talking about? So my mum's story was like so many, you know, the chemo, and she had ended up with no hair, and she lost one of her breasts, so we call that half a mastectomy. She never bothered replacing it because in those days, you know, it wasn't as good as these days. She went to all the doctors, the surgeries, the hospitals, and tests, more tests and more tests, and you know what it's like. Hands up, who knows what that's like? I know, unbelievable. So, when you look at all that, you're only really seeing one side of the person. You're only listening to one side, and you're only really feeling for her in one way. Let's look at the whole woman, beyond the cancer. Beyond the rushing to doctor's appointments, hospitals, getting results for tests, you know, recommendations about what they're going to do now that they've had the test, etc., etc. First of all, on the surface, my mother never looked better. She only ever had very fine hair. In fact, I have the same very fine hair and need to wear a little bit extra. Girls, you know what I'm talking about. So when she lost her hair, she realised that she could have any type of hair that she wanted. And being the glamorous woman that she was, she chose the one that looked like Elizabeth Taylor. And she literally looked like Elizabeth Taylor. While she felt sick and tired inside, her idea was to look as fabulous as possible on the outside. So each day she dressed for work. Half bra, inserted, check. Girdle. Now, that's the old word, isn't it? What do they call them now? Spanks. Where's all the young people? Spanks, is it? Yeah, girdle, same thing. Don't panic. We all had them even in those days. She used to wear colourful outfits. She always had high heels. She'd be very pleased with these tonight, saying, good girl, Katrena, for making an effort. She always had her Elizabeth Taylor hair on. She always had beautiful red lipstick, and all her makeup was always beautifully applied. And she would toddle down to the train station every day for work. And to me, she looked like a geisha girl. You know, very glamorous, but quite a curiosity, as it were. With no one knowing what the cancer cells are doing underneath the clothing, the cancer cells clinging on for dear life underneath the skin. The cancer cells determined like her to live. She beat cancer with her quiet and determined, focused mind. So think about what it will take for you to beat whatever you need to beat in your life. It usually takes a quiet, determined and focused mind. Only to be troubled by various other cancers in other parts of her body. She ended up with lymphedema, which makes the arm go absolutely huge. And yeah, that's just often the way it goes, isn't it? And then finally, during treatment, the hospital, during various therapy, she became a paraplegic. So we're now faced with what was a battle with cancer, or with breast cancer, now ended up making her a paraplegic. And for 8 years, she lived as a paraplegic. And she developed her very own personal philosophy on life, and here it is. Number 1, life is short, so anything trivial, throw it over your head and let it go. She used to go like that. When you were in the middle of talking about something trivial, she'd just go like that. And you go, Mum, what are you doing? She goes, oh, nothing. Yeah. Do you think that could be useful for you? Yeah, just go like that. She used to do it all the time. In other words, we were so boring. Seriously. Number 2, life is short, so makeup is essential. Now, I don't know what you guys are going to do about that bit of information. Anyone like to dress up in women's clothing? Now's the time to declare it. It's best to get it off your chest. Everyone's probably already aware that you do it. But for women, I think makeup is essential. It makes us feel good, doesn't it? Gives us that little bit of extra confidence. And I've already made a mental note on who's not wearing any makeup tonight. No judgment. Life is short, so focus on what you can control and influence and simply get rid of the rest. I'd like you to all imagine this being 100% of your energy And I'd like you to do a mental tally of how much of that 100% of energy every day you're using on stuff you can't control. And when I'm training most days, people say to me, oh crap, about 50% of my time is wasted on stuff I can't control. Some people say 30%, 20%. Some people are really good at this and are sort of down to 10 or 5. I encourage you to, until you get used to it, is to just check in with everything, i.e. weather. Just imagine for a moment, if we could, like a fairy floss machine, gather up all the energy every day that people spend talking about the weather on the planet today, and how big would our fairy floss be? Absolutely friggin' huge. And then imagine if we could grab all that energy in every day for, say, a year and put it into the starving children of Africa. Do you think we'd still have the same friggin' problem? Probably not. So think about your 100% of the energy that you've got in a day and think, how much am I spending it on stuff I can't control? What about traffic? I can't wait to be called in by the Department of Traffic, or whatever you call whatever they call themselves, Department of Roads and whatever. Anyway, I can't wait for them to be brought me in, because I'd love to do anger management in front of all the people that do road rage. Because I just simply say, look, it's only a 5-minute speech, let's talk about what you can control, what you can influence, and what you've got no friggin' control over whatsoever. If it's already in the past, you have no control over it. So somebody that's just cut you off is what? Where does it sit? No control. And yet people are like, oh, well, I can still go like that to them. I can... whatever. It's like, yeah, great. And does that change the fact that they've already cut you off? No. So anyway, think about it. I think the weather's just a good example, and the traffic's another example. Oh, but hey, I'm in Kai, and you don't even have traffic, so you're going, I can't relate, Katrena, I'm sorry. What? Traffic? What's a traffic jam? What? Well, you come to Sydney or Melbourne, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I sit in traffic all the time, and I make it my own personal time, beautiful music, use it for relaxing, thinking, I don't know. Anyway, next one. Life is short, so love and be loved, even if it's just by your cat. Hands up all the cat people. No, embarrassing. Come on, admit it. Oh, yeah, hi. Just the one? One over there? Yeah, cat people. Beauty. I know it's embarrassing. We need a special course for us. Oh, how cute is that picture? It's not my cat. Life is short, so hug even when all you can move is your arms, which is all my mum could move. I love that picture too. I love tigers. Sorry, I'm not embarrassed about that. I think tigers are amazing. And hug even if you don't have arms. I love penguins. I really love penguins. Number 6, life is short, so don't invite people to your funeral that you never liked anyway. So as you can imagine, my mum and I would lie in bed together and we'd get out her address book and we'd go through it. And I'd go, Mum, what about Laura? Nah, don't like her. What about Louise? No, don't worry about her. Don't invite her. So we used to go through the entire address book and decide who I was to invite when she died. What other daughter would do that? Seriously? The other 3 sisters said, I'm never discussing that with Mum, ever. And I'm like, well, good. It's our special moment together, talking about who's coming to the funeral and who's not. And do you know what? All the perfect people turned up at the funeral, except one person was there. And I was like, oh, hi. Oh, crap. Mum's not going to be happy. But anyway, I let her stay. You had to come to the wake and everything. Anyway, life is short, so don't phone negative people that will only tell you how they are doing and never ask about you. Has anyone had a friend like that? I hear a nice grumble. We've all had people like that. Yeah, anyway, weird. Number 8, life is short. If you've got legs, use them. Use the stairs, you lazy bitches. I don't take that advice. My husband goes, hey, let's park in the middle of the town and we'll walk around the centre of town. I'm like, drive me to the front of the cafe. I'm not going anywhere. So You know, you can take that one if you like. I personally don't have that in mind. Life is short, get a dog. Hands up all the dog people. Okay, now you can relate. Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you. Now this is my dog. Like my actual dog. Is he cuter than yours, or are we in competition, or what? Isn't he adorable? I love this little smiley one down the bottom. Call that the what is it? The Chinese person. Number 10, life is short, so get the shit off your wings so you can fly. And my mum never swore, never, except to say this. And I changed it to crap because I thought I wasn't going to swear tonight, but clearly I've changed that rule. Sorry. Anyone offended? Anyone want to leave at this point? No? Happy to stay? Loving the strategic swearing? I call it strategic swearing. It sounds more professional. Anyway, how much shit have we got on our wings? Men, I know you're turning off at this point going, what wings? And like, you know, that's understandable. You don't even know what we're talking about. But for the women, we have wings, don't you know? Haven't you seen some of us have tattooed wings on us? That just shows how serious we are about this concept. Anyway, get the stuff off your wings so that you can fly. And I miss her very, very deeply, as you can imagine. And I wish I could talk and hug to her every day like I used to. But she wouldn't want me or any of us to feel bad for her, because she had quite the innings. And she passed away in January 2009, tonight, 1,350 days ago. And she would like us to live as she lived. She lived like she ate mangoes. Can anyone remember the last time they ate a mango? Now, if you've cut your little mango up, and you've taken it into little chunks, then you are not doing what I'm talking about. I want to see it dribbling down your face. I want to see it dripping down your arms. And I think it's a metaphor for the way some people live. Don't be so neat about it. I want to die with my makeup smeared all across my face and my body worn out from all the use it's had. Don't judge me, I love sex, don't you? Suck up every bit of juice that you possibly can have. Allow it to drip messily all over you. And she used to lick her lips as she did that and go, it was so cute to watch. And one of my favourite authors is Sark. So did anyone bring their notebook and pen because of all the wisdom I'm giving you tonight? It's really important to take notes. No, nobody's taking this seriously at all. Fantastic. But Sark, if you can remember S-A-R-K, if you ever want to buy a woman an incredible present, buy a Sark product. One of her books is called Eat Mangoes Naked. It's part of my philosophy on life. Living Juicy and Succulent Wild Women. Now, hands up, men, who would love a succulent wild woman? You know you want it. Oh, two hands. Two hands up, everyone. Woo! I know, succulent wild women. Hands up who's a succulent wild woman already. Saw you. Awesome. Yeah, two hands up. Great, love it. So if you can relate to those books, they are fantastic books. I absolutely love her. And my whole, ever since I've read her stuff, I've always taken on her words of wisdom. And a couple of things that she teaches. One is wear pyjamas all day. When was the last time you wore pyjamas all day? Apart from us who sleep naked. So, does anyone wear pyjamas anymore? Yeah. Okay, so when was the last time you wore pyjamas all day? Didn't even get dressed?
Last week.
Awesome! Awesome, and how good does it feel? Oh, that wasn't very convincing. I love it. It's a bigger deal to me than that. Doesn't it feel great to not have to get dressed? So anyway, make a mental note that you're going to wear pyjamas all day and not get dressed soon. Who's leaving now? Somebody said I'm leaving now. Okay, the second thing that Sark teaches us is to nap whenever you can. She says nap like a cat. So find a little bit of sun and lie in it. When was the last time you had a nap? You again? Yeah, you and I are like twins, aren't we? Yep. Here's a couple of shots just to inspire you. Oh, get a hammock. Who's got a hammock? Awesome. Oh, nice. Nice. So perhaps now I invite you to start designing your own philosophy on life. So here we go. Let's get started. The first one from my point of view is that people are always trying to make life more complex than it needs to be. Is anybody blind here? Is anybody deaf here? I asked for that. Absolutely asked for that. Does everyone have feeling in their skin? Can everyone eat food and taste it? Etc. Yeah? So to me, this is as simple as it gets. We don't appreciate the 7 wonders of the world, and that is what we are able to see, what we're able to hear, what we're able to feel and touch and taste. And the fact that we can laugh. Already we've had a couple of laughs tonight. And what's that worth? I love to laugh. So do you, Dulce, don't you, twin? Yeah. She's easy to make laugh. She's laughed at every one of my jokes. I love it. Did you laugh that I just spat then? I love it when I'm up in the light and I can see my spit flying across the room. Pardon? Yeah, good on you. Exactly. Next one is I have this view that a lot of people live on the shoreline of life. You know, as the waves come in where they crash down? You know that place on the beach where they... Oh, do you guys even know what a beach is? Sorry, it's a bit mean, isn't it? Anyway, we have, you know, when you went for holidays, where the waves were crashing down on there. A lot of people live in that, and as the waves come down, has anyone been dumped before on a big wave and had their face planted in the sand? That was pleasant, wasn't it? Well, that's how a lot of people feel life is. It feels like their face has been planted in the sand after one wave, after another, after another, after another. And about 25 years ago, I thought, I want to change that. And I thought, what I'll do is I'll find out how to stop that from happening. And it took me, the last 10 years I've now been teaching it, is what I've realised is we need to get out of the shoreline. We've got to go out. We've got to go out deep. We've got to go right out deep into the ocean. And if you notice, deep out in the ocean, there's still the undulation of highs and lows, highs and lows. So you still experience things, but it's not at the severity of at the shoreline. Does that make sense? Yeah? So getting out deep, so then what does that mean? Well, how do I get out deep, Katrena? It's all very nice to say, but how do I get out there? And what I like to think is that it's about self-awareness. It's about knowing yourself and studying yourself and immersing yourself a little bit in yourself to find out, why am I the person that I am? Why do I have things happen? And why are things happening? And how come I react like that? And how did I, you know, what's going on? It's exploring those questions. Now, at this point, the guys have all switched off, going, bullshit, I'm not doing that. But the women in the audience might be thinking, oh, that sounds interesting. I want to go out into deep waters, and I don't want to live at the shoreline of life, and I'd like to find out how I can undulate with the highs and lows of the world, but without it affecting me in that huge, enormous way and having it feel like your face is planted into the ocean, on the sand. The other thing I like to think about is I like to think of everything as a cycle. So let's think big for a sec. Go out into the universe, that's one big cycle. Come into our solar system, that's another big cycle happening. Come into our bit, sun, moon, bizzo, what do you call that? That's our little solar system, exactly, that's cool. And then come right down into everything that we do is a cycle. People that are on the land understand that everything's a cycle. Women understand everything's a friggin' cycle. Don't you love our cycle? Whoa! Nice. So, people come to me all the time as a therapist and they say, Katrena, I just want to be happy. And I go, to know happiness is to actually know sadness. To know the up, you need to know the down. Everything's a cycle. Everything. You can't just... How would you know if you were happy if you hadn't have experienced sadness? And imagine just walking around going, well, now I want to be happier than I was happier yesterday because I was happy then, but now I want even more happiness. And, you know, you wouldn't appreciate happiness if that's all you had all the time. You wouldn't even know that that was happy. In fact, you'd think happiness was sadness. And are you still with me? Or is that all complicated? A bit too complicated. It's spitting again anyway, it's over there. So have a think about the cycles of your life. You know, a baby in a womb, that's a 9-month cycle. You look at your career, that's been a cycle. You know, you stay at a job and then you start a new cycle, you move on to another job. You look at your own family, you've brought up your family and some people are at the beginning cycle of their family and other people are empty nesters looking at a whole new cycle beginning. So I like to just get people to think about the cycles that they're in and to find out what are the highs and the lows of that. And the beautiful joy in understanding the cycle is to know that if you're sitting in shit right now, you'll know that there's got to be an upswing at some point. It has to be. And that's why I love this part of my philosophy on life, because it helps me during the downtime to know that there's going to be an upswing at some point. And I just think that's a nice gentle way of thinking, is think in cycles. Next thing is I like to get people to think about themselves as the CEO. Hands up who's a real CEO. No one. Good. We can bitch about them all we like. Anyway, you are the CEO of me.com. And I think this is wonderful. It's a wonderful concept around thinking about what are you responsible for. CEOs are responsible. You act in a certain way. You've got the eye of the owner, as I like to call it. And eye of the owner is just a fancy way of saying being responsible. Now, imagine if we looked at all the problems on the earth, and imagine if people were taking responsibility for their part in it. Do you think we'd live in a world with the problems that we have? Perhaps not. So the easiest way to think about it, and this is the prettiest picture I could find of a really cool bus, is who's driving your bus? When people come to me for therapy, they're often at the back of their bus. They're not in control. They're not influencing where the bus is going. And they say, oh, I'm 30 or 40 or 50 or whatever they say, and this is not where I expect it to be. And I go, really? Where did you expect to be? And they go, I don't know, but it's not here. And you go, oh. So what I have to do is I have to shift them from not being responsible, not driving their bus, into getting into the driver's seat and starting to go, okay, where are we going? What do I want? Where do I want to head? And if you set some goals and whatever, you end up often getting close. I love that saying, shoot for the stars, you might just get the moon. It's pretty good. Now, I've got 5 key essentials. So the first one is number 1, personal power. So to check in with, at a scale of 1 to 10, just in your own mind think, how much personal power do I have? And here's how to tell. Check how you walk into a room. Now, anyone work in an office environment? Yeah? So some people have to knock on the door to interrupt a meeting, and they've been asked to do that. Just knock on the door at morning tea and see if anybody needs a cup of tea. And here's somebody with personal power. Knock, knock, knock. Oh, hello, sorry to interrupt. Just wondered if anyone needed a cup of tea. Tea, coffee, Bonox, anybody? How can I? Okay, no problem, I'll be right back. Here's somebody with no personal power. Sorry. Sorry. Oh. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Oh, sorry. Just wondering, does anyone want any tea or coffee? No? Good. Now that's an extreme. I'm doing the two extremes, but you get the idea. So hands up who's on this side, that weaselly one. See how I was even doing small? I tried to make myself smaller. So check your body language. See if you're like making yourself smaller. And did you notice my breath? People with no personal power don't believe they have any right to suck up any air. So they keep their breathing really shallow and try not to take any. It feels to me like I'm having an asthma attack. Whereas people with personal power have a sense of space around them, and they feel like just this little space here is their little area. And they own that little area. It's really kind of cool. And they own the air, so they feel that it's fine just to suck up a bit of air. And you'll know someone with personal power because they can speak up and speak out. Because to speak up and speak out is to take breath, take air. Now I can hear, you know I'm psychic, and I can hear people going, she has so much personal power, it's retarded. Oh my God, look at her up there. I've got all this space. I've got all that space. Well, that's great for me. But what about people that haven't worked as hard on their personal development and their self-awareness as I have in the last 25 years? I've done the work, and it's taken me a long time to be able to walk into a town of people that I don't know and stand up and feel that I have anything to offer whatsoever. And that takes guts. Some of you might say, balls. And you can ask my husband later if I have balls. But I reckon it's pretty ballsy getting up in front of you guys. Wouldn't you agree? So, I want you to think, out of 10, where do you give yourself? Is it on the lower side of the 5 or below? If so, work on your personal power. See what it is that you need to do to grow and develop in that particular regard. And if you want to, and if you feel connected to me in any way, feel free to call me and say, Katrena, what shall I do? Or, what do you recommend? And then for others who are already up here, I congratulate you. It's probably taken a lifetime for you to own your own space, and I think that was work that was well done, well done. So everybody give the people with personal power a little round of applause. And if you are the one that they're clapping, I want you to stand up and go like that. No, they haven't got that much personal power. Next one, think about your emotional intelligence. Did you know that there's about 9 different intelligences? Did anyone know that? Probably, some people. So when we're looking at young people, in this, young people growing up, we're talking at schools generally about IQ. Do they still do IQ tests? Or is that gone? It's gone. Because IQ in my day, going back, 30 years, they used to think that was the be-all and end-all. Now, everyone that was doing... Who's done an IQ test back at school time? Come on, all the old people. 43? Anyone else? No one's had an IQ test. Oh, you are lying. You are lying. But anyway, IQ test, you know what I'm talking about. They used to test us and they sort of made out that academic intelligence was the be-all and the end-all and made all of us people feel like dumb shits. Because what we were tested on was not our strength. Anyone that's really, really good with people, they have what they call emotional intelligence, and that's one of the other intelligences. Some people that are really good with their hands, not necessarily as lovers, but I mean like mechanics and plumbers and those type of guys that are on the tools, they are mechanically intelligent. They are mechanically intelligent. The guys that put all the AV together, they have a different type of intelligence that I have none of. None whatsoever. So anyway, explore the 9 intelligences if you're curious, but the one I wanted to talk about, because I think that's critical, is the emotional intelligence one. This would change the world. If everybody had high emotional intelligence, the world would be a very different place. Because what it would mean is that everybody knows thyself well enough, they know thyself, and they know their impact on others. So has anybody yelled at you at work and then the next day apologised? Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, I'm so angry. Oh, God, please excuse my behaviour. It's like if you knew yourself, you wouldn't have done it. And if you knew the impact on me, you wouldn't have done it. Now our relationship is severed and you think saying sorry is good enough? Well, it's not. And it shows a lack of emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence, they reckon, is broken up into 5 key areas. One is self-awareness, and I've already explained how I think that is really, really important. The next one is self-regulation. So self-regulation, I have an issue with, as you can see. I love exercise, and I eat very small portions. So if you too have self-regulation issues around food and exercise, then you and I need to get together and make this body fashionable. And I think we'll come back around, don't you? Yeah, so do I. Yes, sorry about that. So Amy Winehouse died because of self-regulation. So people that are on drugs, alcoholics, obese, any of those sorts of issues, it's not about the other 4 things, it's often about the self-regulation. So the self-regulation part of emotional intelligence is very, very important. And you can see a lot of people are killing themselves because they're unable to self-regulate. And I am one of them. Next one is motivation. Motivation is how much fire in your belly do you have? How much motivation do you have to do stuff? Or are you a gunner? Everyone had a boyfriend who was a gunner. Gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and then they do fuck all. Yeah, don't laugh at when I swear like that, because that just makes me do it more. Seriously. Now I've done my first F word. Now I'm in trouble. Hands up who wants to leave now. Anyway, motivation. Empathy. Empathy is where you're able to feel what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes. Do you think we'd have the wars that we have if people had more empathy for others? Today I felt a lot of empathy for that beautiful 14-year-old in Pakistan. I thought, how brave is that girl? She's standing up for the rights of girls to be educated, and the Taliban came and shot her in the head. And she's just in hospital. She's not dead, thank God, but what an incredible young lady. And she could feel what it's like to not have the right to education, and she can feel what that must be like for other young girls. And she's fighting for that right. And today I had empathy for her. And I just think the world would be a much better place if we had more empathy for each other and could understand where each other was coming from a little bit more. Not so much in the big world stage. I'm not so worried about what we can't control. I'm more focused on what you can control and what you can influence. You can only control self, that's it. And you can only influence others. And that's my parenting tip for tonight. Next one is social skills. So social skills in emotional intelligence is just being able to, talk with people. And some people come to me who are very shy and quite reserved, and they are challenged by this part of emotional intelligence because they know they want to do more and have more and experience life more, but they just are struggling with that social skills aspect. And so I work with them on that. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, how emotionally intelligent are you now that you know that it's broken down into these 5 key areas? And you could probably work out in your own mind what are some of the things you might want to be working on over the next 12 months. Have a think about that. Next one. Number 3 is initiative. Now, I've done this picture because I see initiative as the fire in your belly. If I've got no fire in my belly about something, then it's likely I'm not going to do it. So when I have to do my tax and my BAS, I've got no initiative at all. But when I'm asked to come here and do a presentation, I have heaps of initiative to get up and make that happen and sort it all out and get here. So think about what are you doing inside your life and start to have a look at what's got lots of initiative for you, lots of fire, because that's where you get a heap of energy from, and what has got not a lot of energy, not a lot of fire, and it's very difficult to get stuff done. So, if you can afford it, delegate it. I've got a bookkeeper. It's unreal. Really unreal. Because I've got no fire in my belly to do my books. And so if you can delegate it or give it to your kids to do or something like that, get rid of things that you have no initiative of. Don't pretend you're going to get it done. Don't pretend you're going to set it as a goal. Just find out what you've got fire in your belly about. Next one is confidence. Now, confidence is broken up into 3 key areas. You won't be confident on something if one of these 3 things is out of balance. So, hands up who's confident to get up and speak in public and be on this stage tonight. You've got one person. One person. And is that because you're practiced at it? You've been it, yeah. So you believed that when you stood up here that you could do it, you believed you could, you felt you could add some value, and you'd practiced enough to be able to stand up here and do it. That's when the triangle is in balance. You're confident on something. So whenever you feel a bit sick in your stomach and you're not confident enough to do something, just check in. Is it because you don't believe you can? Is it because you don't believe you can add value? Or is it because you haven't practiced enough to be self-assured on that? So just check in with those 3 things every time you feel that you're not confident on something, and only bother with it if you want to get confident on it. So when I look at guitar playing or piano playing, I think, oh, do I believe I can? No, not really. Do you think you could add value to, on the world stage of piano playing? No, not really. Do you think you could stick around long enough to be really good at it? No, not really. So piano playing for me is out. Guitar playing, that was out. My guitar teacher when I was 12 sacked me, said I was hopeless. Yeah? But for other things, I've built my self-belief, built my self-value, built my self-assuredness, and then you're kind of good at it. You're kind of confident on that. So this is not for the older people. This is for the younger people. So for the younger people, you're going to often feel not very confident. A lot of times. There'll always be that self-doubt. But I want you to come back to this picture in your mind, and I want you to think, do I believe I can? And you'll hear the answer. Just listen to your gut. It'll go, yes, or no, don't kid yourself. Listen to that. Do you think you can add value? And your brain will, or your body will go, yeah, or no. And then do you think you're going to stick with it long enough to be good at it? Now get real. And for some people, they don't believe they can. They don't believe they can add value, and they don't believe they're going to stick with it long enough, so no wonder you'll never get confident on that particular issue. 5, the final one is being human, being yourself, getting real, being authentic. You hear all about that all the time. So how real are you? And on a scale of 1 to 10, are you putting on does it take a lot of energy to be the fake you every day? Or have you just... By about 60, I don't think you give a shit, do you? Do you? I know in your 20s you actually care what other people think. 30, it starts to sort of wear off. 40, you're like, whatever. What other people think of me is none of my goddamn business. By 50, you're like, yeah, whatever, I'm not wearing underpants today, and that's it. And by 60, I don't think you're really popping on a bra anymore either. Are you? Hands up who's not wearing a bra tonight. Anyway, be real. Be real. And I think finally, society's got to a point where we now value that. We don't want the fake bullshit you. We want the real you. Be real. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier. And I don't think people from here need to really worry about that. But the city people, I have to teach this a lot. Because they've been brought up to be something that they're not. And they're trying to pretend how to be a business person or a lawyer or a this or a that, whatever they think they have to be. And it's taking a lot of energy, and that's why a lot of sickness is in our society, because it's taking all our energy to be that fake thing that they have to be every day. And it does make you sick in the end. Once you've done fake for 20 years, your body just goes, oh, I'm exhausted. And what are we starting to see now these days? We're starting to see a lot of adrenal exhaustion, have you noticed? Have you got those articles here? No? Okay, maybe you guys don't work hard enough. But a lot of the people are coming to me now going, I've got adrenal exhaustion, I've got all sorts of allergies and all sorts of things. And this tends to be because, from a spiritual or emotional point of view, they've been something else that they're not, and it's time to get real. It's time to get real and step into who they are as a person. So now what I'm going to do is make you psychologists, and it only takes 5 minutes. Does everyone want to be a psychologist? Good? Fantastic. Yeah, it's handy to be able to read people. The behaviour is just the tip of the iceberg. So look at everybody's behaviour, and what's driving that behaviour is the values, beliefs and attitudes, and what we've inherited and what we've got picked up culturally. So you bundle all that in, and that's what drives behaviour. Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. If you're late for work regularly, what kind of belief would you need to have that behaviour happen? Doesn't matter? Is that what you said? Doesn't matter. Yeah, doesn't matter. So our values were pretty much put into us between 0 and 7. So most people's programming was put in between 0 and 7. So we're still running programming that our parents gave us between 0 and 7, and somebody's laughing their ass off because they're thinking, oh dear God, that's true. So your beliefs are often picked up by your parents, but once you start to leave home and get out into the world, you pick up other beliefs as well. And hopefully by now, you're so successful and happy with your lives that you've got the perfect values driving the perfect behaviour to get what you want. And your beliefs and your attitudes are all excellent and good programming. But some kids I meet have got terrible values, terrible beliefs. Bad beliefs are what we call limiting beliefs, beliefs that keep them, doesn't help them anymore. So whose parents said, oh, for heaven's sakes, money doesn't grow on trees? Who had that? Who's still got that one? Yeah? So if that's still working for you, then you keep that one. But if it's not, you can change your values, beliefs and attitudes reasonably easily, but you'd need a therapist. The other thing we've done is we've inherited a lot of stuff. So if we grabbed Paris Hilton and had her born in Calcutta, do you think she'd be the same person? No, because what she inherited when she was born into that particular family compared to what she would have inherited if she was born elsewhere in the world is two different things. So what we've inherited plays a significant part in how we behave and what we go after in life. And culturally, anyone not an Aussie? Who's not an Aussie? Great. Where are you from? Where? England. Oh, beauty. Well, that's closely related, isn't it? We're all convicts. Yeah, I love that about us. We've got the hooliganism, haven't we? You people obviously didn't get chucked off the island. Did you? But now you're here. Should we question that? It's a bit awkward, isn't it? Anyway, culturally as Australians, we come with a certain part of our programming that we've picked up from that. And then you can even come down into which state are we from, and then from there you can come down into what town you're from, and everything gets embedded into you culturally, and your parents, what they've inherited. So if you're rich, poor, country, city, all that makes a massive difference to who we are. So now you're a psychologist. Now I want you to go around and I want you to judge everybody's behaviour every single day. And if the behaviour is what you want, particularly from your kids, then it's likely they've got the right values, beliefs and attitudes, and what they've inherited from you has been a good thing. And what they've inherited culturally from the town and from our country is a good thing. But then when you get different behaviour outside of our values, beliefs and attitudes, that's when you get some trouble. So look at your own behaviours and just see, is there anything you want to tweak? You may have programming underneath the surface that needs to be tidied up a tad. But anyway, we haven't got all night. Okay, so anybody wondered what the meaning of life is? When I found this out, I thought, oh God, that's a bit simple. Jeez. People search millions of, hundreds of years to find out what the meaning of life is, and all it is to help others. And what's great about what you guys have done is you're already onto this. You guys help each other out all the time. When they get sick, you help. If you saw a kid that needed help, you'd help. You'd help your neighbours, your other town folk. You help each other. So I don't need to teach you about the meaning of life. You guys already know it, you already live it, and the meaning of life is to help others. That's all. Simple as that. Even a garbage man, as a garbage collector, is helping others. How meaningful is that? I tell you what, I love garbage collectors. I hate garbage and I love that it's gone. So I think what they're doing is a fantastic role in society. Other people help others in a real more obvious way, and we kind of get that they're helping others, like nurses and doctors and people like that. But think of every single job, it helps others in some way. Even the banks, we hate the banks, don't we? Do we hate the banks? Or do we love the banks? No. Well, everyone thinks they hate the banks, but really they're helping people too, whether we like it or not. We know that they've got, I don't know, big profits or whatever, but at the end of the day, they still helped us get our home, didn't they? They still helped us get our car. They still helped us in some way with our financial situation. So that's a bad example. What's another example? Who does a job that they think they don't help others? Or is that pretty clear that most people do a job or have a role? Do you know what children's role is? Yeah, just to be annoying. Bloody hell. Actually, children also play into the meaning of life as well. They help parents become more self-aware. They help parents learn stuff, whether they like it or not. Anyone not learn patience with children? No? Now, the meaning of life is to help others. The purpose of life is simply to learn and grow. So back to the cycle thing, you originally learnt how to walk and talk and read and write, and then you went up a couple of steps and you're still learning. You're learning all the time. Tonight you're here thinking, oh, it'd be nice if I learnt something. Be nice. But to learn and grow is all there is. That's the purpose of life. I have this whole workshop called Life Purpose Development, and people come for a whole day just to immerse themselves in themselves just for a day and think about their goals and their future, etc. And at the end of the day, their expectation is, I'm going to find out what my purpose here on earth is. And when I show them this, they go, ripped off! Oh my God, I thought it was going to be something really, really complicated. And I go, no, sorry. It's just to learn and grow. So when you die and you go up to, shall we just call it the pearly gates for the sake of keeping things simple, all they'll say to you is, hey, how'd you go? And you'll go, oh, I went really well. I learned this, and this. And they'll go, beauty, you don't have to come back and do it all over again. But if you didn't learn this, or this, back you come. And so I'm determined to learn what I'm meant to learn down here, because I don't want to have to live the same mistakes over and over and over again. And most people will learn what it is that they came down to learn, and then there are some people that don't. And we all know who they are, and I'm looking right at you. I love this. We are all visitors to this time, this place. We are just passing through. Our purpose here is to observe, to learn, to grow and to love, and then we return home. And this is an Aboriginal proverb. So I think it just goes into our last point about learning and growing. All right, so let's get my first volunteer up. Hands up, who's the best looking? Come on. Where's my twin? Bitch, get up here. Oh my God. I'm not coming down to get you. My feet hurt. No, get up here, Dust. Seriously. You are not doing the baby version. You're doing the big grown-up version. Let's come over here. So here we go. Oh, can we? Yeah, this is for you. Now, I want you to, we're going to look at the 10 rules for being human. We'll come over here because I don't want my big fat ass in shadow. No, okay. All right, so now you read them out and then I'll check with the audience. Number 1.
You will receive a body.
Hands up who did not get a body. Did everyone get a body? Okay, good. Okay, check. Next.
You will represent you with your lessons.
You'll be presented with your lessons. Okay, brilliant. Hands up who has had no lessons. Yes, exactly. Good, they're onto it. Next one.
There are no mistakes, only lessons.
Right? So if you think you've got some regrets and I shoulda, coulda, woulda, or I was gonna, forget it. There are no mistakes. There are only lessons.
Lessons are repeated until learned.
Good. Does everyone not realise that that's been happening your entire life? Yeah? Remember the really bad boyfriend you started with and now you're living with the shitty husband? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's terrible, isn't it? Just grows and grows. And what's funny about the universe is if you don't get it really first, it's usually quite a gentle poke at first. Well, that's a bit rude now that we're talking about boyfriends, but I didn't mean it like that. It starts off quite gentle, and then it gets louder and louder and louder. Anybody completely frustrated and want to poke their husband in the eye? Or worse, shoot them? It's really loud now, isn't it? You should have done something 20 years ago. It's too late now. Anyway. Next. What's your next one?
Learning never ends.
No. It just continues until the day we die. Next.
There is no better than here.
No. People yearn, have you noticed? Yearn for, the grass is always greener, or the job will be better, or when I die I'll go to heaven and all of that. What if this is heaven? What if this is it? There is no better than anywhere else, except for here, alive, with this life. Enjoy.
Others are only mirrors of you.
Oh, this is horrendous. So, I'm talking to the chicks right now, because guys never bitch about each other. Only girls do. When you go, that girl is a cow, really what you're talking about is the cow in you. Because to notice it in somebody else, you have to have that going on for you. So when you go, that mole, I swear to God I'm going to punch her, you're talking about that annoying habit that makes you the mole. So now I hope you're too scared to bitch about anyone else, because what it means is it's a challenge for you in that regard. Anyone annoying, it's because you're annoying, etc. And we can talk about that at supper. You can come up and go, oh my God, you don't know my friend. I'll go, I've had one. I don't have any anymore.
All the answers lie inside of you.
Yes, you don't need any guru or any person or anybody else to tell you what's what. Everything you know inside of you. That's why you were given intuition, why you were given a gut instinct. You know the right answers. You know what you should be doing. It's all inside of you. You don't need, you are your own temple, you're your own guru. Enjoy. Give yourself good advice, not shit advice anymore.
You will forget all of this at birth.
I know. And that is sad. Because I often debate whether knowing all of this stuff would be handy to keep knowing, but we're not. The minute we're born, we forget where we came from and what we're here to do and the meaning of life and the purpose of life. We forget all that. And it's not until today we suddenly remember. Thank you. You're as gorgeous as I had anticipated. Give her a hand. Thank you. All right, we need another victim. Who's the best speaker in the town? Speaker. You know, with a good voice, good personal power. Dob somebody in. Margaret. Oh, Margaret. Where's my best friend Margaret? And don't take 9 hours to get up here, because I'll get bored. Come on, Margaret. Oh, there you are. Right at the front. Oh, I know. Make them buy you a drink or something. Oh, I know. It's dreadful. Did you wear underpants today? Have you got a bra on? You haven't done. How embarrassing if you hadn't. Okay, now in your best voice, you're going to read out this one. Now, this is my all-time favourite poem, so don't fuck it up. Oh, here's your microphone. So you've got glasses. Glasses. Yeah. She was serious. She needs the glasses. Are you sure? You can read it off that or whatever.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Oh, that's so nice. I'm glad we got you. You were fantastic. You did that justice, because I hate when people fuck up my favourite poem. It's terrible. No, you did really well, even without your glasses. All right, so now for the finale. We've got 12 hot guys to come up. And we've already chosen them. So they've been sitting there all night, not concentrating on a word I've said, just thinking about their own stardom. And I want you all to come up here. They're going to be lined up here, and the more good looking they are, I want the bigger the clap. All right, so who's our first victim? Our first person. Where's our 12? Come on, boys. Come on. Now, if you've loved tonight, because I've been fabulous, then I want you to thank them. Oh, good. You're happy? Because they did it. It's all their fault that I'm here. Oh, I love it. I heard that you were bikies, and I'm like, now this is living. This is my dream come true. Now we've got, I'll give you the mic. There's your mic. And then when you're finished, you pass it on. Here's your lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can shuffle along if you like. 7, 8, 9, 10, and
most of the women that I listen to drink this and spit and talk like this.
We need 2 more. Where were my girls? We didn't want to be sexist and just have the good-looking boys. We wanted the chicks as well. So just, yeah, you'd already volunteered or we'd already poked you. So here's 11 and 1 more. Janet, get your ass up here. Immediately. Oh, and you've even got the t-shirt on. Fabulous. Bloody hell. God, sorry to put you out. I know, it's a bit of a pain, But I wanted to include you, and this is now an invitation to you. Let's go.
It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what each ate for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing.
Lovely. Good job. Nice job. Next.
It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you'll risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive.
It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want you to know if you have touched the centre of your own sorrow, you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear or further pain.
I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it, or fade it, or fix it.
I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes, without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human.
It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy.
I want to know if you can see beauty even when it's not pretty every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence.
I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon. Yes.
It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after a night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children.
It doesn't interest me who you are, or who you know, or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the centre of the fire with me and not shrink back.
It doesn't interest me where or what or with who you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else fails away.
I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments.
Shall we all just come forward? Hold each other's hands. Thank you, boys and gorgeous girls. You're amazing. Thank you. I should take all that if you like. Oh, well done. It was pretty hard, huh? Yeah? Let's go to the pub. Did somebody say we need a beer really badly right now? Absolutely. Oh, I've been dying to do that. Been dreaming about that moment, getting my bikers up here. I think they did a fantastic job. And thank you very, very much for having me, guys. It's been my absolute pleasure. I look forward to breaking bread with you right now. I'm happy to, obviously, don't treat me like a leper, like you can't talk to me. Please come up and have a little chat. For now, could we have Loretta? Somebody else. It's not Loretta.
Loretta just gave me this job a while ago. Thank you, Loretta. I'd like to say on behalf of Kyabram and the Youth Committee, and especially you guys down there, that brought a tear to my eye. That was amazing. Well done. Thank you, Mioff, for everything you've done to enable this amazing lady to come to our town. And there was a few choice words there, and I looked at everyone and they're like, oh, but I know you all said it. So everything's fine. It was fantastic. It was absolutely lovely. I took a few notes myself. The best one, help others, learn and grow. That was absolutely fabulous. Guys, I hope you take them home with you. Just a little thing. If it doesn't make it on the aeroplane, that's okay. But keep it up.
I've got a spa in my room. And I've got 4 new boyfriends. Why, thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to Peter 12 College for having us here in the hall. They are so generous to us. They always let us use this facility for free. I'd also like to say thank you to Max and Andrew for the sound and the gift committee for the supper you're about to have. It wasn't just... Yes, sorry, not loud enough, Andrew. It wasn't just the gift committee, it was people in our community. So thank you very much for putting everything on. Again, thank you so much for coming. Loretta, it wouldn't have happened without you. So thank you, Loretta. And Loretta was very excited when she came to our gift committee meeting and said, we really need this lady here. And we really do. And very simple things, but thank you so much.
My
thank you for your
pleasure.
time. Thank you to your husband for filming all that too.
I hope you made me look thin. Thanks, darling. Now, for those of you who are interested, I've got a special little crystal with the meaning of the crystal. So for those who want to come and collect their little prize, when they're gone, but I've got a few. So feel free and we'll exchange our little gifts as supper carries on. But thank you very much for my booze. I always need a drink after this.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.